Welcome to Off the Hanger, the fashion podcast where we delve deep into our guests' wardrobes, finding out their favourite fashion pieces and the stories behind them. This week's guest is incredible personal stylist, Lisa Gillbe. Now, Lisa's got an amazing podcast called The Style Stories, and you might want to check it out because there might be a familiar face on there. So have a look at that after you've enjoyed this episode. Lisa, thank you so much for being on Off the Hanger. It is really lovely to talk to you this morning. I'm super excited to have a good rummage through your wardrobe. Now, you are a fellow stylist, but also a fellow podcaster, and I am really keen for you to tell us all about your podcast because I think lots of the people who watch and listen to Off the Hanger would also really enjoy what you do.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat to you today about my wardrobe. It's been a bit of an eye-opener, actually, going through the questions and going through my wardrobe this morning. Yes, I do have my own podcast, which is called the Style Stories Podcast. I'm a personal stylist based in London. I work with professionals one-to-one on their wardrobe, and I run the podcast as well. And I started the podcast around 5 years ago with a hiatus in the middle due to COVID, obviously. But I started the podcast because I was fed up of reading lots and lots of guides in magazines that just said, you can wear this over 40, you can't wear that over 40, you should do this over 40, you mustn't do that. And, just they were not representative, I think, of me, most of my friends, my clients. And it seemed that they were just churning out the same guides, a one-size-fits-all approach. And so I was talking to my girlfriends about it, and one of them, she just said, you've got to start a podcast. You're a stylist, you work with women, real women with everyday lives. Why don't you talk about this on a podcast? And I was just aghast. I never would have thought I could have a podcast. And she literally got her phone out of her pocket. We were in a cafe. She just said, let's do it now. No time like the present. And she hit record. And that was 5 years ago. And since then, I've created hundreds of episodes. I've had lots of amazing experts on the podcast. We've hit number 8 in the UK charts. And I'm always in the top 20 in the UK in my genre. So it's amazing. It's been an amazing journey. I love it.
That's incredible. And I do think you're right. I have a real bugbear with the idea of fashion rules. I think it's just nonsense. And I think the older you get, the more rules apparently there are. And why are we having more rules as we get older? That seems ridiculous. There shouldn't be any rules. Fashion's about expressing yourself and having fun and wearing things that make you feel great.
Exactly. And, and it's the same thing they've been churning out for years as well, particularly the capsule wardrobe guide that you get. Everybody needs a crisp white shirt, a pair of loafers, a trench coat. I don't need any of those things. Yeah. And it's just, they've been churning the same thing out for years. It's far better to find your own authentic style, and that really is what the podcast aims to do.
And I think it's such a waste because people are really led by those guides. I know that I've previously kind of gone down that route of going, oh, what are these 10 must-have items that I have? I have a trench coat. Do I ever wear that trench coat? No. Is it going in the vintage pile? Yes, it is. Because it's just not my style. I just don't wear a trench coat. I always feel like Inspector Gadget every time I wear it.
Exactly. I find those clothes boring because I'm not classic. And these items are classic pieces. And yes, they speak to people who are classic. And if you are a classic dresser, you will love a pair of loafers. You will love a freshly ironed, crisp shirt and a trench coat and, all of these classic pieces. If you're a bit more avant-garde like me, a bit more quirky, maybe like you, Emma, as well, then they're not going to speak to you. They're not going to resonate with you. So why do they churn out these one-size-fits-all guides? I think it makes people panic more because they think they should be wearing those things. And then it makes them feel bad that then they haven't got these things in their wardrobe.
That's it.
So I think it makes you feel more lost.
Completely. And I think it is that idea of them just trying to speak to as many people as possible. So they go with the safest possible option. These are the safe pieces that everybody will like. And it's actually, well, no, because we're all individuals. And yes, I appreciate that, magazines and blogs and things, they can't speak to every single individual, but just being a little bit more open-minded with their content of, this is the brightest, boldest print that you should be buying right now, rather than here's the classic black suit. Yawn.
Yes, but it's more than that. It's like, this is what everyone needs in their wardrobe.
Yeah. It's like, we don't.
To have a capsule wardrobe, you must have these pieces. To be stylish, you must have these pieces. There are different ways to be stylish. You don't have to be classic to be stylish. You don't have to wear classic clothes as you get older. You don't have to, but people believe that they should because they get past a certain age and they think, right, well, now I need to get that trench coat. I'm 45, I need a trench coat. It's so, or I need to suddenly start wearing a red scarf or, whatever. It's just far better to learn about yourself and what makes your heart sing when it comes to style.
Exactly. It is it's about embracing that individuality. And were you always into fashion? Did you love fashion as a child?
I absolutely loved fashion. And I started, my first job ever was working on a market stall, selling dresses and all of that when I was kind of probably 14, 15, really, really young. And I did go into fashion initially. I've always been passionate about it. And I think, it comes from my mum because my mum always, she is a classic dresser, my mum. So we don't have the same style, but she just always looked so put together. And, you always look up to your mum anyway, don't you, when you're little? She's the most beautiful woman in the world and everything. I still adore my mum, of course I do. But it was just really her fashion and her sense of style that really had an effect on me, I think.
And do you have an earliest childhood memory related to fashion? Is there a piece from your wardrobe you can remember?
I would never forget the piece ever. It was basically, my mum bought it for me, and it would have been probably early 80s, and rah-rah skirts were in fashion. So I think they've come back since, but she bought me this white rah-rah dress. It was a white dress, and then it had 3 ruffles on the skirt, the rah-rah, and it had red piping around each ruffle and red piping around the sleeves. Oh my God, I loved it. I just used to hang it on the door and just stare at it. Just literally, I don't think I'll ever forget that dress. I think that was the first time, and I think I was about 8. It was the first time I'd really worn something that made me feel great.
Brave colour choice as well for an 8-year-old. To go for one.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it staying clean. Was it a dress for best, or was it a dress that you could just wear?
Oh, that dress for best thing, I know. I think it was a party dress. So it would have been going to friends' parties and things like that, or maybe when we went to church on Sunday, I'm not sure. But it was definitely, white. Oh my goodness, you can't go anywhere in that. I just had to hang it on the door and look at it, I think, most of the time.
But that's it. I think some fashion things are just bought to be admired. There's definite pieces in my wardrobe when I think, am I actually ever going to wear that? I'm not sure. But do I love it and just want to keep it so I can look at it? Yeah, I do.
Yes.
What would you say is the oldest piece you've got in your wardrobe?
So the oldest piece is probably, so there's oldest as in vintage, but there's oldest as in oldest item. I have got this Chloe coat that is up in the loft, so I couldn't bring that today, but my husband bought it for me. So it's a Chloe coat, and I wore it to my first son's christening, which was 17 years ago. So it's, it's quite old, and it's got it's floral, and it's got like a pink ribbon that ties, and it's Chloe. That's beautiful, and that's old. I do have, this doubles up this dress for a couple of your questions, I think, today, but it's vintage 60s, 1960s cocktail dress.
The colour's incredible.
Yeah, the colour is amazing. Like, it's really, really beautiful. And it's got a lovely sash at the back that sort of goes, I'm not putting in the camera. So it's a high neck, and then it's got a sash that falls down the back, and it's very fitted. That's from the 60s. So that would be the oldest thing.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. And do you get to wear that often?
I actually wore it recently because I went to a black tie event, which I do not do often. And if I'm being really honest, there's hardly ever a time I get to dress up. And I've worn that dress to 2 events, both of which have been black tie. And it's perfect for that sort of event. But they are rare. I mean, you wouldn't wear that anywhere. It's pretty dressed up. You couldn't wear it down to the pub. Well, you could if you wanted to turn some heads. But most of the time I don't get to wear it, sadly, but I love it. I absolutely adore it.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Such a great colour. What's the piece in your wardrobe that gets the most compliments?
Okay, so it's still that dress.
I'm surprised. I was going to say, is it that dress?
It's that dress. Honestly, I have worn it. So I've only worn it to 2 things, but I literally have people coming up to me when I wear it saying, and, old school friends, the guys that I used to hang out with when I was sort of 18, going, wow, that colour, and, all of this. And just girls come up to me saying, where did you get that from? And it's just, I think because, I do colour analysis and I'm a spring. So I think the colour is just perfect, but also the shape, because I'm hourglass, it really works for my body shape as well. And it's unique too. So it ticks a lot of boxes. So it really stands out. It's all glittery and glamorous. Yeah, so that definitely gets the most compliments.
Oh, it's gorgeous. What an incredible piece to have found. Where did you find it? Was it in a vintage shop or did you get it online? Or
it was a vintage stall. So near me in Beckenham Palace Park, they do vintage fairs now and again. And you just go down and there's a couple of vintage sellers there, and she just had this dress. I was like, I have to have it. I mean, it has got a red wine stain on it because it's lived a life. Yeah. It's been to many parties since the 60s. You can imagine it. That dress has been to a lot of parties. So it has got a red wine stain, but you can't really see it. And I still love it.
It's all good. These things have lived a life, like you say. They're full of stories. Yeah. It's had its adventures. Exactly. It's got a few war wounds along the way, haven't we all?
It's got tales to tell. It's got a lot of tales to tell.
Exactly. Now, do you spend quite a lot of money on your wardrobe? Do you have a most expensive piece?
I was thinking about this and I don't. So I am not a handbag, shoe person. So I wouldn't, I'm a trainer girl through and through. Largely it's due to my job because I'm on my feet a lot, but actually I think inherently I am a trainer girl. I'm a boots girl, trainer girl. So I wouldn't have a pair of Jimmy Choos, for example, or Manolos. I love them on other people. I admire them. They're gorgeous and beautiful, but I wouldn't wear them. It doesn't fit my lifestyle, any of those things. Bags, again, I'm not, I've got a lovely handbag, but I don't have any really sort of higher end, except for I have got a Mulberry that my husband bought me a few years ago, but because it's so heavy, I don't use it. It's the satchel one. It's so it's that one. I don't even know what that one's called, but the bag itself, if we even put anything in it, is really heavy. So I find it really cumbersome. So it just stays in the bottom of my wardrobe, unfortunately. So I would say I spend a lot of money on clothes, but I don't have really individual expensive pieces. I spend more on pieces now as I've got older. Mm-hmm. So I buy less, but higher quality. But when I say higher quality, I'm talking sort of maybe something from M&M, for example. Yeah. So a pair of trousers might be £200. I would probably spend maybe £300 on a dress now if I really loved it. I wouldn't have done that a few years ago, but then I won't, I'll wear that thing to death. And I honestly feel like I wear everything in my wardrobe now. So it's more about getting, being more mindful about what I buy as well.
And I think that's where advertisers and brands really miss a trick, because it's women of our age who are willing to spend and invest that bit more on their wardrobe. Yet so often they just present us with the most boring pieces.
Yes, yeah, it totally. And it's that there's a gap in the market. I don't know if you remember, though, a few years ago, Mary, Queen of Shocks, Mary Portas. And I absolutely adore her. I'm such a fangirl when it comes to her. She speaks so much sense. She's amazing. She does amazing podcasts as well. But she did a range for House of Fraser, which was aimed at women over 40. And it just felt it. I think the problem I've got is if you tell me something is for you because you're over 40, I run for the hills. Does that make sense? So I want to be able to go into shops and find things that I like and wear those. I don't want it to be marketed specifically to me because I'm a certain age.
Yeah, completely. I had a guest on the podcast recently, and she was saying that actually all her most fabulous, most fun pieces that she loves in her wardrobe all came from kind of like teenager shops. So shops that are specifically more aimed at teenagers and a much younger market, but she just loves their pieces because they're really fun and really unique. And if she went into a shop that was, a bit more kind of aimed at the more middle-aged woman, that everything then starts to be a bit black and a bit boring. What I need in my life is the combination of somebody who is making the right cut clothing
for my older body, not my skinny 20-year-old body, my more, I've had a child body, but still really fun things. Like, I love loads of pieces in Zara, but I need the rest of the top. I don't want the crop top. I need the rest of the top, but in that fun print with that great shape, but just not cropped. Please give me the other half of the top.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel the landscape is changing massively at the moment. And, my local Jigsaw, for example, not that I don't really buy much stuff from Jigsaw. It's not my style, but they're closing down in Dulwich Village. And, lots of shops are closing down because of the big move online. So it's actually harder. It's a lot harder to shop. Like you would be able to pop to the shops and pop to the high street and get a few things, the different shops catering for different people and different tastes and ages and all of that. But they've closed down, lots of them. So it's all online. So it's really difficult to find, brands that speak to you. I think that is worth spending time doing, is to sort of find brands that speak to you, because they're going to be designing things that are going to, you're going to want to buy. So I do love a lot of M personally. I find the price point is quite high, but I enjoy a lot of their stuff because it's smart, but it's still a little bit funky as well.
You see, for me, that's where things like Vinted really come in. When I find brands that I love, but that are that slightly higher price point, I always just set up Vinted watch lists and go, right, what can I find from that brand in my size? It might be a few seasons old, it might be pre-loved, it might still be new, but it's actually more affordable. But you're right, the opportunity to go in and actually try things on and figure out, does this brand make the right shape trousers for me? Does it make, sleeves that are going to be the right length? I think that's something that's really important.
Yeah, it's that trying on thing is important, because, who wants to be traipsed into the post office all the time if you buy something and then it doesn't work. That's the problem with online shopping. I do love a bit of Vinted though. I'm really getting into Vinted.
I'm upset.
I got my son a North Face coat on there recently for like £200 less than it is in the shops, brand new.
You can't go wrong. I just love it. And I really need to just stop talking about Vinted in every podcast, because in fact, I'm not. I'm just going to approach them and ask them to sponsor, because in everything at some point I will end up talking about Vinted because I just love it. What's the newest piece you've got in your wardrobe?
Oh, okay. So I've got these trainers, because I'm a trainer girl. So these are Adidas Gazelles, and I love the fact that they're a platform. So this is like a new thing. So I love the kind of camel gum platform contrasting with the black suede, and I just think I'm going to wear those to death with jumpsuits, with my jeans, dresses, everything, and they're so comfortable. I've worn them out already. So my Adidas Gazelles, they're new. And also I've got two new things. I got this. I'm very pleased with this. This is Mango Sail. And it's like a cute little patterned quilted jacket. It's versatile.
Literally, that was in my Vinted watch list.
Oh, really? How funny.
I literally missed out on one. I found one and I was watching it. It was in my watch list. And I was like, oh, I think I might buy that. And then I didn't buy it. And then I got a notification saying it had sold. But I love that piece. It's so good.
It's just like Isabel Marant. Yes. I mean, the Isabel Marant jackets are £350. This was 40 quid in the sale in Mango. And it's very cropped. And I'm I'm 5'7". I'm not super tall, but, I think I would like it a tiny bit longer, but I love it with jeans. I just think it adds something a bit interesting. So I'm very happy with that purchase.
And I love that it's reversible. I love that you get the two different prints with it. I think that's really cool. I'm all for pieces that are multifunctional or really versatile, that can be worn in lots of different ways, or are reversible, so that you've got those different options to, get the most out of them.
You get more bang for your buck, and that's always good. I always think, get your money's worth. It's reversible. I can wear it in lots of different ways. So I love it.
Are you quite sentimental when it comes to the pieces in your wardrobe? Do you have something that you would say is your most sentimental piece?
I am generally not sentimental. I'm quite sort of throwaway, but, that's obviously not good. I'm not into fast fashion. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't I think because I'm not classic as well, I don't have loads of timeless pieces that I wear again and again over years. That's a real sort of classic person's perspective and way of shopping. I'm quite a magpie. So I tend to, anything sparkly, anything like that. And I have to sort of, rein myself in and not be so impulsive. But I have got for this, which my mum and dad bought me, and this is basically one day they were shopping in Asda and they went to George at Asda, which, does the clothes, and they saw this cardigan and it's got a fur collar and they just bought it for me for no reason. I went down to see them and my dad has passed away now, and they gave this cardigan to me, and I just thought it was such a cute, sweet thing for them to do. It was just, they saw the fur collar and they thought, Lisa will like that. They bought me this cardigan. I wouldn't have bought it myself probably, but this is a really special piece to me that I just will never throw away. So that's my sentimental piece. And anything my husband buys me as well.
That's so sweet, though. I love when somebody else buys you something, and because it's not just the act of buying it, it's the love and the thought that goes into them buying it. I always think that when guests talk about, their relationship between themselves and their mum would dress them up and, have kind of treat them almost like a little doll. But I was like, but it's the act of love that goes into that, to spend that time and have that thought for another person, that you want them to look their best and, dress in a way that they really like and wear things that really appeal to them. I think it's such a lovely story.
That's what makes it really special to me, definitely. I mean, it's just something that when I'm cold, I put it on in the winter and feel cozy in it. But it's that feeling of love that I get from it. So I'm definitely sentimental about that.
So lovely. Now, what would you say is the piece in your wardrobe that most sums you up?
Okay, so I've got this dress, which is, it's fallen on the floor. Hold on. It's a silk dress. So I've got this dress here. Now, this is from Queens of Archive. And it's Queens of Archive do vintage inspired dresses. They only do a small run of dresses, so they're all fairly unique pieces. This was about £300. It's got angel sleeves, so it's got these big kind of statement sleeves that are quite 70s. The colour is just perfect. It's short. I like getting my legs out. I know I'll be told I shouldn't do that because I am well over 40. So I shouldn't do that, but I love getting my legs out, so I do. And this sums me up because it's a party dress, and I love parties. I'm very sociable. I like dancing, and I like the 70s. I like vintage, and I like a bit of glamorous, feeling glamorous in my outfit when I go out. So that's my favourite dress, and it's also, I think that would sum me up as well.
Such a great piece. It's so bold. I love the colours, love the print. And I am always here for a statement sleeve.
Definitely. Can't get enough statement sleeves. Absolutely. It just elevates everything. I'm all over a statement sleeve.
Do you have a fashion faux pas or a wardrobe malfunction that you would like to share? Because I think when we see people, particularly online, and particularly we think of stylists, we always think that they're very well put together and that these disasters never, ever happen to them. And I am breaking down that barrier. I am the queen of a wardrobe malfunction. So would you like to join my club?
I can join your club, definitely. Everyone has had wardrobe malfunctions. I've got lots. I was thinking, God, what are my wardrobe malfunctions? I think overall, I've got like a general one that I am always fighting, which is my inherent natural style personality is casual. I am a natural scruff bag. I am just scruffy. So that's my go-to. So I'm always thinking, how can I be smarter? And as I've got older, I've definitely started nailing that a lot more. I've introduced a lot more tailoring into my wardrobe. I think every wardrobe needs a bit of tailoring to give you that put together look. So that's something that's just a bit of an umbrella faux pas for me, is because that's my natural inherent style. But I have left the house with my knickers showing. I've left the house. I was running for the tube, and a very kind man ran up behind me, patted me on the shoulder and said, "Excuse me." He said, "Sorry, I'm not." He was all sort of fingers and thumbs and all mumbling and a bit nervous. "You have forgotten to do the zip up on the back of your skirt." And I think my knickers were on show. So I think that was a huge faux pas. as I was about to get on the really busy tube at Balham in South London with thousands of people. Can you imagine? Thank goodness for that man. He saved my day. That could have been awful. That was rushing one morning. And then another one, which is a really big one that I still think about today. So years ago, I used to work in banking. So I started off in fashion, and then I wasn't really earning enough money. So I consciously went into the corporate world. I ended up working at Coutts Bank in the philanthropy team there. And I did 10 years in the end, but it helped me to get a flat and all of that. It was the wrong environment for me. So I went back. I've had my business now for 15 years. So, I've been doing the right thing for the last few years. But we had to go to this event. So I had to entertain clients. And it was at a boat show. So it was like yachts, because it was financing these big super yachts and things. And I said to the private banker I was going with, what's the dress code? He said, you can wear what you want. You can wear jeans. Well, I turned up in jeans. Oh my God, I was literally the scruffiest person there. And I felt really on the back foot the whole day. Like, I just didn't feel confident. I felt really self-conscious, underdressed. I think it's better to be overdressed. I just really didn't feel good. It really knocked my confidence. So that is something I would say is always to pay attention to what you wear at work, because that definitely ruined my day, without a doubt. It ruined the whole event. I think dress codes that's definitely a faux pas of getting it wrong, just underdressing for an event. So it seems to be a bit of a theme here. And the other thing, there was one more. So I've got just one more, but it's more of a feeling, was the day after my wedding. I obviously went all out for the wedding. Amazing, had a beautiful day. The next day, I didn't even think about the leaving outfit. So I wish that I'd thought about that, because I just left again in my jeans. Another example of me being scruffy there.
You see, I am somebody who is perpetually overdressed. So the idea of turning up and getting it wrong and being underdressed gives me the absolute fear.
Yes.
Because I am always over. I'm always the people who go, are you going somewhere else afterwards? I'm like, no, I just thought this was what I'd wear today. Just, that's what spoke to me this morning. So that's what I put on.
I love that. That's so brilliant. You should just, people stop you and say, where are you off to? Where are you going? Nowhere. I'm just doing the school run. I'm just wearing this fabulous outfit.
Although on the school run, they do also deal with me in my running clothes, in my dog walking stuff. This morning, I turned up in a huge ankle-length puffer coat, massive walking boots covered in mud, and a big beanie hat, because it was raining. And I just walked the dog, and I was like, well, school run chic, this is what we're going for.
Exactly. You can do it all.
Exactly.
You can do it all.
Tomorrow, I'll turn up in something completely over the top and ridiculous, and they'll be like, that woman's just mental. My schizophrenic fashion personalities.
It's got to fit your lifestyle, though. That's the thing, isn't it? It's got to fit. What you wear has got to fit your lifestyle, but also your mood changes all the time.
We're never the same person twice. I think you are, when people say, what's your kind of signature style, I think for the majority of us, we don't have one. So that's always a really awkward, difficult, weird question. I think, one day I do want to wear a super sharp suit and be wearing tailoring. And then other day, I'm in hoodies and joggers and trainers because that's what I wanted to wear that day. I think we're all this real melting pot of different styles. And I think those very few people who do have that signature style that they wear all the time and it's really distinct, I think they're a real minority. I think the majority of us are a bit more chameleon-like.
100%. I mean, I think that's just another example of the one-size-fits-all approach. It's like that signature style. Well, I would be so bored. So I need to wear a certain pair of trousers and a shirt combination every day of my life because that's my signature style. That just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for lifestyle. It doesn't work for how we evolve as humans, our confidence ebbs and flows, our mood ebbs and flows. We may not have slept the night before because the kids have got us up or whatever, or so we feel like putting something cozy on. It's I don't think it means that. I don't think it means exactly prescriptively wear that same thing every day if you're feeling like that. I'm taking it a bit to the extreme. I think the thing is find your inherent style type and personality. So everyone's got kind of a core personality. And mine is casual, relaxed. I just have to be comfortable, and then just go from there. And I think it's worth working that out. Are you classic? Are you someone who likes tailoring? Are you feminine? Are you happiest in a dress? It takes a bit of working out, but then just stick to that. And that the 3-word approach is being bandied about a lot, but I find that incredibly helpful. So if you think of 3 adjectives that describe how you want to get dressed, how you want to look in your outfit. So mine would be feminine, relaxed with edge. Mm-hmm. So an example of that would be, I love wearing a dress, but I wouldn't wear that dress with pretty little shoes. It wouldn't feel like me. I need to add some Dr. Martin boots to that look. I need to add a leather jacket to feel like me. Look in the mirror. Does this fit my 3 words? Relaxed, feminine, edge. Yes, it does. That's a really, really good formula to help with outfit building and getting dressed day to day. And it's much more helpful than having this signature style, because that's a rule, really. It's another rule.
It is. It's another box to kind of try and pigeonhole people into, which I don't think, is what we should be doing. Now, the next question is, what is your favourite pair of shoes? But I imagine for you it might be, what is your favourite pair of trainers?
Well, I've got so many trainers, it's embarrassing. Not as many as my husband, though. He's got literally like a whole rack in our bedroom full, like floor to ceiling, of trainers. So I've got these. I do have a favourite pair of shoes because I'm making an effort to be smarter. So these are from New.
Oh, I love those.
And they are
great colour again.
They are velvet. So they're like got an ankle strap. They are velvet burgundy platforms, and they are a copy of Yves Saint Laurent velvet platforms, an exact dupe. And they were about £30, and they're really comfortable. And any night, I get a lot of compliments on these actually, and any night out I will wear these with a dress. I'll wear them with tights, with little socks. I absolutely love those. And you can walk in them because they're platforms. So I have got those. Fabulous. They're fabulous. And I've also got this old battered pair of Russell and Bromley boots that I've had for, I'd say, 20 years. I've had them for 20 years. They look a bit 70s. I need to get them buffed up a bit, but I just still love them. And I still wear those with like a pretty dress. So that would add the edge for my 3 words to my outfit. But Russell and Bromley, the quality, craftsmanship, they cost a lot of money, but that's a good example of spending a bit more initially, and they stand the test of time. They really last.
That's it. Getting a piece that lasts, that's actually going to, as you say, stand the test of time. The style still works, but they've still got that lovely kind of feel to them. And actually, the older they get, leather boots, I think the nicer they get, the more kind of worn in, they mold to your feet, they age really well. Yeah, they just look great. What is the dream fashion item that you don't currently own that you would love to have, irrespective of cost and practicality? You can have anything. What would it be?
It's the Chanel 255 classic flap bag. I have adored them ever since, for as long as I can remember. The chain, the quilting, just the whole design of them. I mean, they're just beautiful. I was actually looking one up yesterday, and on one of the resale sites, so the designer resale sites, I found one. It was £8,000, so it's 8,300. It's a really good investment. I can't ever imagine, though, spending that much money on a handbag. So this is my dream handbag. If money was no option, it would be the Chanel 255. Definitely.
And would you go for black? Would you go for the black leather? Which would you have?
I'm thinking black leather, but I also really like the cream leather as well. I think that's beautiful with the gold hardware. I just think that's stunning with the strap. But I think probably I would play it safe spending that much money, and I would go for the black one because it's just more classic and it goes with more things.
Fabulous. Oh, I love them. Just absolutely gorgeous.
They're gorgeous.
Now, to finish on, do you have a piece of fashion advice that you would have given to your younger self?
So the fashion advice would be to spend some time as early as you can working out your style vibe, because you'll just save so much time impulse buying. Now, I've said on here, I'm a magpie shopper anyway. I'm an impulsive person. I get really excited about fashion. Fashion brings me joy. buying clothes, wearing clothes, that feeling of having something new. I'm sort of, really into that. And I have to pull myself back quite a lot, because as soon as it's a new season or anything, what's new for the season? All of this stuff. So it would be less impulsive, be a bit more mindful of what you're buying. Don't always need the next big thing, but also just spend some time working out your style vibe. Because when you know that, you can then ignore the things that don't work for you. You can get rid of that feeling of, I should have this, I should have that, I should be dressing in a classic way. All of those things. You shouldn't. You don't have to. You need to. There are different ways to look smart. There are different ways to look sexy. You don't have to wear a skinny tube dress, for example, to be sexy. There are different ways. As long as it's your style vibe and you exude confidence and you're comfortable in what you're wearing, then you will be sexy, you will be confident, you will be happy, and you'll have a wardrobe that you love.
That's great advice. Incredible advice. Thank you so much for being part of Off the Hanger. It's been really, really lovely chatting with you.
I've absolutely loved it, Emma. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm usually, like we say, I've got a podcast, so I'm usually asking the questions. So to be on the other side, it's been refreshing and I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a rating, a comment, a follow, and do check out Lisa's podcast, The Style Story, as well. I will make sure there is a link in the description.